Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I here recording on Saturday, January 4th, talking about the Celtics. Because what else would we be talking about? Obviously, I don't know why I even say that anymore, but of course we're
I
talking
think it's
about the
because you're
Celtics. That's
used
kind
to
of the whole thing.
the standalone videos and you
I
intro
know.
the topic.
I'm gonna keep doing it too. It's just like, what else we gonna be talking about? The day you hear me say something else in the intro is the day you know something went wrong. How you doing, Sam?
Doing pretty good. Celtics have won 3 in a row now. 3 in a row. Yeah, three in a row. 4 out of 5. Look pretty good in 2025. And exciting show on the books today. We're going to hear a little bit about maybe why they're playing so well. Hear a little bit about Tatum's relationship with some former Celtics coaches. We'll go through your emails, go around the league. There's a ton of drama to unpack today. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Stick around for it. You can leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell. We're here every single day with new content. Full pods Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday.
Yes, sir. Let's jump right into it. So the Celtics apparently had a team meeting ahead of this road trip. Kristaps Porzingis talked about it after their win over the Rockets. Brian Robb of Mass Live transcribed the quotes because he was in Houston, so I'm going to read from his quotes. So thanks, B. Rob. He said, "We had a good meeting before this trip, just a little bit like looking in the mirror type of meeting and see what we can improve on and see what we could do better. Teams are obviously coming for us, and some of them are playing their best basketball against us. So some small adjustments we want to make and try to keep improving as a team and keep playing the same way. Minnesota was a tough game, but we came out with a win. And tonight, I felt like the second half stuff was clicking for us. So far, from the small sample size we have, we're looking pretty good." And then Tatum said, "I just think the approach that we've kind of taken to start the new year. I said that the other day, December didn't go the way we wanted to. We're just trying to get back to our identity of who we are on both ends of the floor. Just trying to play a better brand of basketball coming up in January, knowing that we have a bunch of road games, we have a bunch of tough ones. Last 2 games without JB or KP, just trying to figure out ways to win. Those ones feel a little bit, they're special." That's what he said. So it does feel like the Celtics wanted to reflect a little bit on the way they played in December, and based on what's happened in January so far, it feels like it worked.
Certainly does feel like it worked. The Celtics look like a completely different team from some of the stretches that we saw from them last month. The defense and connectivity that we saw against the Rockets was special. Talked about it on the game recap, but it was kind of difficult to get excited about them putting the Raptors in prison because they're the Raptors and the Raptors are not a very good team. Houston is a good team. It was clear that the Celtics had something for them. They made things very difficult for them in the second half when they only gave up 30 points. Felt like every shot that the Rockets got was going to be a difficult one, similar to how it felt for the Celtics on Christmas Day for the early part of the fourth quarter. But nonetheless, they look great. They were really locked in. Even when the game was over, they were still sending traps at Houston. They were making them throw up lollipop passes, so it would be easy turnovers. And just the overall, I'm trying to stay away from saying effort, but it just felt like the focus was much better from everybody. Maybe the defense slump is over.
More consistent. It felt like the communication was crisper. Felt like the rotations were better. Felt like everything was just like more on point than it was in past games. And I do still think that's different from effort. I think there are obviously some effort possessions every game that the Celtics need to improve on, and Joe Mazzulla has said that as well. But I refuse to believe that an entire basketball team will just not try for certain games. There'll be stretches and inevitable possessions where certain individuals don't try. Like that's name of life. There's
Wait till you get
pods
in the
where
coach's box today, buddy.
yeah, right. There's pods. There's pods where I'm not at my best trying. There's pods where you're, I'm sure, at your best not trying. Like it
Looking
happens.
around.
It's just the way of the game. But I the last few games, the Celtics have certainly been on top of their shit. It is funny though that the Celtics need a team meeting after what did they go in January? Because obviously it wasn't 8-6. Okay,
One
so
game above
obviously it's
500.
not 8-6 is 2 games above 500. No.
Well, if you lose one more game, then you're 500.
If you're 8-6 and lose one more game, you're 8-7.
If you play 14 games instead of winning 8 games, you win 7 games, then you have lost 7 games.
I see. Okay, I see.
It's the math on that works strange. We're
I still think
probably
that's
both right. Let us know.
okay.
They
I see.
won one more game than a 500 team would have won.
Yes, it is a weird. Yes, yes.
It looks much different than that, but I think that's how it works.
It, I
The
get what you're
explanations don't
saying.
make sense.
I 100% it does. I get what you're saying, but if you look at the standings and a team is 8-6, they're 2 games above 500. Because if they lose one more game, then they're 1 game above 500. But because it's not accounting for, oh, had they lost this one here, then it would change that. It's counting for like, okay, the next one, if they lose it, because there's always another game. Like when the Celtics went 64-18, they were okay. Never mind. That's too much math. I'm not going to do that math. Regardless, my
I
point
don't really feel
is
like trolling, so I'm not gonna go back.
no. My point is, the Celtics had a team meeting after going 8-6. For context, the last time I can remember a team having a team meeting was when the Bulls lost by 30 to open the year last year to the Thunder, and then we've seen what's happened to the Bulls since. And I just don't. I don't think I could possibly think of two teams in a more different position than the Bulls and the Celtics. Like it's just funny, and it's absolutely just the Celtics have higher standards for themselves right now. And I don't think this type of team meeting was as serious as team meetings other teams have had in recent years. But it's just funny to see the level of which the Celtics have to play at to have a team meeting to fix the way they're playing.
The best part about the team meeting is it doesn't sound like a regular team meeting where everybody knew. Well, I think we all are like, okay, makes sense that they had a team meeting, but it's not like, why didn't they have it earlier, man? Like, or do we think there's problems in the locker room because they're having a team meeting? Like, that's not good. That's the sign of a dysfunctional team. Like, no, this feels like they just kind of all wanted to dial back in. I think that we're hearing it from Kristaps makes it feel all a little bit more lighthearted too. He just probably has a way of delivering it that makes everybody feel better. And the results have conveyed that whatever they did worked. They've looked really great through these first 2 games of the road trip, despite not having Jaylen Brown, despite being out without one of their starting caliber big guys in each game so far. It's going to be interesting to see how they look on Sunday. I think that's going to be a big test, regardless if Jaylen plays or not. I think they should be able to put them in position to compete, even if Jaylen is out. I think having Kristaps and Al will be nice. Uh, Obviously, I'd like Jaylen to play. I don't know what my read on it is. I think he might actually be
I bet
dealing
he
with something.
plays.
So
No,
I
I bet he
lean that
plays.
way too, but I'm not certain.
I don't know. I would think he plays. Who do you think led this team meeting? Do you think it was like Tatum? Do you think it was Kristaps? Think Joe was like, "All right, guys, get your shit together." Like, I don't. I have no idea because I remember there have been like players only meetings in like past years where the players are like, all right, let's talk without the coaches. But this sounds like it was just them sitting down and talking about the way they played. I wonder if it wasn't even as dramatic as a team meeting that Kristaps is describing. And it's just we literally had our weekly team meeting and just talked about our past level of play. Like I could so see it being that and everyone's just gonna make a bigger deal out of it than it is. But I'm curious what you think. Who started the team meeting? Who led the team meeting? Because it's weird to think of these guys in that type of context because there's such a I don't want to say boring team, but because that's not the right word, but like
Mellow team,
yeah,
relaxed team.
exactly.
Uh, I don't think it's impossible that it was Drew Holiday. Uh, I think that it could have been Jalen, but it would be weird for it to be Jalen because I feel like Jalen was a part of the problem. Not to say
Yeah.
he was the only person involved in the problem either, because that's not what I'm saying. I know I kind of joked about it last night. That was like, oh yeah, Jalen hasn't played, and all of a sudden they look like they're engaged. Don't really think that's what it is. But I feel like him or Drew might have. I think Drew is my number one answer. Just might have seen enough, and like ever since Drew has come back, they've looked a little bit more engaged too. They've looked more
Mm.
comfortable. Like he's clearly made a difference on that end of the floor. So I think he would be a great candidate to be the leader that steps in. I think that's one of the things that he brings to the table, on top of being an
Hmm.
all defensive level player, also just being someone who's been around the block and people respect, and they're like, okay, he probably doesn't say that much, but when he says something, we're going to listen.
Yeah, I think Drew's a safe bet. Part of me wonders if it is Jayson, but we just never get to see that side of Jayson because he keeps it so locked away. Like he keeps the outward leader part of himself to the team, and everyone just assumes that he doesn't actually have it. So I wouldn't put it out of contention that he was the one who brought the team together. He certainly talked at the meeting. I don't doubt that, but I don't know.
Sat there and twiddled his thumbs.
Yeah, it's weird to think of the Celtics in a team meeting because like, what's their record right now? The
They're
Celtics this year,
26-9.
yeah, 26-9 had to have a team meeting is just a funny dichotomy of records, and 100% they hadn't been playing up to par, but just having a full on team meeting with that record is just it's very funny. Yeah. Anything else? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You breathed like you were about to talk, and I was going to move on.
No,
Okay.
I hope it carries over.
Yeah.
I said on this podcast, if they go 6-0 to start the new year, I have a tweet. I think I'm going to do if they sweep the road trip, I have a tweet. Just because, what do I want to gamble for? I also think if they sweep the road trip, it's going to be very impressive. And at this point, it's not that it feels unlikely, but it just feels like it's still a tall task. Like the two hardest legs of the trip still look them right in the face.
Yeah.
And, you beat OKC tomorrow or today as you're listening to this, you really start to get excited. But they're a team that's not going to quit. They came back from a lot against New York on Friday. They're the real deal. I've watched them a couple times this week, and just Shea is incredible. He was incredible last January when they were in OKC. I
Yeah.
want to see the Celtics compete, though. This is like going to be one of the few times this year where it's like, holy shit, big game, everybody lock in. Like from a fan's perspective, the two of us talk about it all the time. It feels like across everything, not just our channel, there's less interest this year. I think this is a spot where people are going to be interested. They're like, "Ooh, let's take a look at this. Let's turn on NBA TV, the most prestigious platform for this game to be on, and we'll all tune in."
Yeah. Shea's probably the MVP right now. He's been ridiculous, man, and they're so good. They've won 14 games in a row, and he's averaging 31, 5.5, and 6 on 52-36 splits. Like, that's insane. And I know Jokic is putting up ridiculous numbers, but when the Thunder are as good as they are, then again, Jokic is averaging 31, 13, and 10. So that's it's a pretty hard stat line to compete with. But Jesus, what's Giannis averaging? I'm just thinking about the MVP. Giannis at 32, 12, and 6. Jesus Christ.
Tim Duncan ever win MVP?
It's ridiculous. Oh yeah, you think he's got one or two. He has 2 MVPs, yeah.
Okay. Just curious.
And he won it in 02 and 03 back-to-back years. He averaged 25, 13, and 4, and then 23, 13, and 4-ish, and 2.5 blocks and 3 blocks. So he was he was doing it a little bit on both ends of the floor. Do you think it's weird that Kristaps brought up the team meeting? Just circle back quick. I don't think it's
at
like
the podium.
Yeah, I guess. It just that feels like very much if Kristaps hadn't brought it up, no one else was going to bring it up. Like I can't think of another person on the team who would have openly brought up the fact that they had a team meeting because that seems like something they do want to keep we don't want the public to know about. Does that make sense? That sounds silly, but like seriously, like
we hear about team meetings around the NBA all the time.
Yeah, we also hear coaches talk about injuries around the NBA all the time. The Celtics are not every team. The Celtics,
Doc Rivers just being like, "Yeah, he'll be back."
The Celtics don't like to give out information to the public when they don't have to. That's my whole point. Joe Mazzulla actually makes it a point that he doesn't want to give us information.
It's very mean of him. I don't know.
Mean, the game's a game, but
I could see it being like an airheaded moment from Kristaps where he's just kind of like happy with the way the team played. And he's just like, he was also talking about Shea at the podium and was like, yeah, great. Yeah. He was like, great player, like going to be tough to game plan for him or whatever he was saying. And then he stopped himself and he was like, this sounds like it's a very like generic comment, but I swear I'm telling you the truth.
Shea's good, man. That Thunder game is genuinely going to be like a heater. They won't, dude. They're so good. They're probably going to the finals this year. I'd be surprised if they didn't, but it is.
See him there.
It's gonna be fun. It's the real deal. We'll see if they actually get there. Before we jump to the next thing, I do need to tell you guys about PrizePicks.
Tell them about
PrizePicks, the best place to get real money sports action. Over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings. That's billions with a B. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000x your cash. Run your game all season long with PrizePicks. My roommate just got PrizePicks recently, as did my friend Danny, and they have been hooked. So shout out to CLNS for the code CLNS, which you guys should use at checkout because you can get hooked to on PrizePicks. They've been using it all the time. They come up to me and they're like, "What do you think of this? I need more than 6.5."
There's nothing worse than being
anymore."
asked what you think of someone's picks
Hey,
because
man.
there's no winning. They either win and come back to you, or they lose and blame you.
Yeah, but it's okay when it's PrizePicks. Basketball season is heating up, and PrizePicks is the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. You can now win up to 1,000x your money on PrizePicks, like I said. Also, PrizePicks now offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your account this sports season. Sam and I use PrizePicks all the time on the pregame. It's been a minute because we weren't the best at PrizePicks, and so we need to reload our account. We lost a few too many times, but we like picking the more on Celtics player points. We like picking the less on opposing players' points and the more on opposing players' turnovers because, well, that just makes it more fun to root for it. Download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, next thing, Jayson Tatum talked about all of the Celtics coaches that he has had in Boston. Obviously, the Celtics played the Rockets the other day, and he faced off against Ime, who was the coach for a minute. And Tatum talked very highly about every single coach he's had in Boston. There's a lot of quotes here. Do you want me to read through them all, then we talk, or do you want me to go one by one and then we talk about all the coaches?
We can go one by one. That way it's broken up a
Okay.
little bit.
So Tatum first, he said, "I would venture to say I've been very fortunate with the organization I've been with all the teammates that I've had, and I've had 3 of the best coaches I could have possibly had, especially at the time in my life." He started with Brad. He said, "Brad believing in a 19-year-old kid and teaching me about the NBA and the ins and outs. At times I was frustrated with Brad and I wanted a bigger role or whatever, but I appreciate the relationship that me and Brad have and how he allowed me to grow through that process." Which is, I don't think something he's ever said before. You can obviously make your assumptions of, oh, every kid wants to play more, et cetera, but to hear Tatum say, yeah, I was frustrated at times because I wanted to play more, but then reflecting on how good Brad was for him at that time in his career is at least a little interesting.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine it's very easy to come into the NBA at that age and then
Yes.
have the responsibility with high stakes that Tatum had. Like, you do see young players come in, be given the keys to a team with no expectations, and they have a lot of wiggle room to grow. And we heard a lot about Tatum not really wanting that when he was coming up through the draft, like wanted to play for Phoenix, didn't think he would get a lot of time with the Celtics, knew the opportunity would be scarce, and it turned out to be a really great thing. Uh, and of course that he wanted to have a bigger role. Like, Brad taught him a lot, and I think it also means something that Brad is still a part of the organization, as someone he had to learn to trust and all of that. So, yes.
I mean, Brad might have been the most hyped coach in NBA history when he was the head coach of the Celtics. You remember that Twitter poll? I think it was Kevin O'Connor who put it up, and it was like, for the next 10 years, would you ever rather have Brad Stevens or Giannis? And like more people picked Brad Stevens, which is insane. Like that is a crazy choice to make. And obviously Brad Stevens is phenomenal, but oh my God, that's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. But there was, I mean, that 18 playoff run did a lot for him because nobody expected anything, and they really should have made the finals. They were up 15 in a game 7 at home, and they didn't win it. So the Brad teams were really fun to watch. They almost always exceeded expectations. And when you're a fan, that means a lot because you grow to trust the coach. It makes the viewing experience better because the expectations are so low. You're always getting this like unexpected dopamine when your team overachieves. It's like the
Yeah.
opposite of now. We just expect the moon. And when they don't get it, everybody just gets mad.
Brad was a damn good coach, and he might be a better GM, which is kind of crazy to think about. But Tatum also talked about Ime, obviously. He's talking about all of his coaches. He said Ime that 1 year was special. First time I made All NBA, went to the finals. At that point, it was the best season I had, and he instilled something in the organization that was needed at the time. I just think it was good, a good time for a change. Brad had done an amazing job for 10 years or whatever it was. Sometimes you just need a different voice and a different style of coaching. I think Ime, he's big on toughness and physicality and taking on the challenge and going at people, and that's what we did that year, right? We had a tough start, but him as our head coach, he never wanted to. He never wavered and turned out our season around. He was hungry and got to the finals and came up short. We love to have him around. He's an amazing person, amazing coach. Basically talking just about the toughness, everything that Ime brought in, what he's bringing now to the Rockets.
Interesting way for him to end the quote.
Listen,
I was talking to my dad about the Ime stuff yesterday, and we still don't know all that much about it. The more we hear from the players, like, I can't wait if we ever find out. Like, if we ever find out exactly what it was that happened.
I said this at the time. I'll say it now. I think the Celtics 100% made the right decision. If Brad Stevens is crying at the podium, Ime probably did some fucked up shit. However, Sam, if one of your family members does some fucked up shit, do you still love them? Yeah,
Yes.
you do, because they're your family member. And that's what's happening here. Ime Udoka and the players on the Celtics team were family for a year. They were. They spent every single day together. Ime coached them. Ime helped Jayson Tatum have the best year of his career. They are family. And so even if he does fucked up shit, they're still going to love him. That is the nature of having a family member. And I guarantee anyone listening, if one of your family members did some fucked up shit, you'd still love them. And that doesn't mean we have to accept what Ime did or glorify what Ime did, because
That's not what I'm
we don't.
saying, to be clear.
I know it's not what you're saying. I'm just making the point for anyone who might think that or whatever. Because he probably did some fuck shit. If Brad Stevens is crying and they felt the need to fire the coach that brought them to the finals, he definitely did something that was worthy of it. However, I'm just adding context to understand a little bit what Jayson Tatum said.
Oh, I thought you were I thought you were about to add context because you look like you were gonna look something up.
No, sorry.
Nonetheless, we all don't get Joe Mazzulla if this all doesn't happen. And I think Joe Mazzulla has been a very enjoyable character. Even if you don't like what he does as a coach, he's a great character to have in front of a microphone and in front of a camera. So that's fun. On top of that, he rules as a basketball coach. The team has been incredible, even though they kind of underachieved in his first season. They won the championship in his second. They look like they could very well do it again this year. And, I think the Ime season did a lot for the team, especially the guys that stuck around, taught them toughness. Was it you yesterday that was telling me, feels like they're kind of turning up to, prove something to Ime on defense last
No,
night?
it wasn't me, but
what do you think of that? Is it possible?
Maybe
They saw the man sitting there and they were like, we got to defend.
I don't think the Celtics think like that. I just don't think this team is very much spiteful in many ways. So I don't think so, if I had to guess. Jason also talked about Joe to wrap it up. He said, Joe, with what he's done with this group and leading us to a championship, I've been very fortunate to have three of the best coaches. Those are the three people that I could have had and helped me on my journey. Basically just talking about all of them. And I mean, I've said this a million times. You just said it. I don't think the Celtics could have a better coach for where they're at right now than Joe Mazzulla.
Right. I really think it's the fit. And when you have such a talented team, the way the Celtics do, you need somebody to get them to buy in. I think the Celtics had an appropriate coach at all times, except for maybe the first Joe year. I think through Brad and maybe the last Brad year, I think through the first several years of Brad Stevens being the coach, they got somebody to get guys to overachieve, to play better, to play above their pay grade. And it really helped them make strides, supersede what people expected for the rebuild and how quickly it went. And then once Ime came in, he added something to the team. Like, they struggled the first half of the year, and he had something click. Whatever he was telling them, they finally bought into. They started to defend at one of the highest levels we've seen. They played with grit. And, now with Joe in charge, they have the talent. They still need to play hard. Like, nobody's disputing that. The real challenge when you have a team as talented as the Celtics is playing together and being willing to sacrifice. And you heard about all of that going into last season, throughout last season, the mindset thing is real. You could have Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday come in here and say that they're all-stars and they should be getting more shots or they should have a bigger role, and they really didn't care. And I think it has a lot to do with Brad Stevens having an eye for the right personnel too. But like those guys have to buy in. And the guys that were already here have to buy in. They have to be willing to sacrifice. Tatum has to be willing to maybe look past an MVP campaign for the better of the team. To be like, I can't really go out there and get 30 a night if we're going to be playing our best basketball. I have to settle for 26, move the ball a little bit more, make the defense have to be on their toes instead of just being the guy that wants to score the ball. As much as you ridiculed it, and rightfully so, and brought it to light, like the Anthony Edwards thing is real, where he's like, I want to score. All these guys want to score. And it takes a mature leader to put that aside and be willing to do something for the betterment of the team.
And even if you do want to do it, you don't say that to a public-facing pool of reporters like a fucking moron. I still can't believe it.
I'm not going to rip him for it.
It's so stupid. Anyways, let's jump over to the email here. Reminder, as always, you guys can email us at hbtcpod@gmail.com. That's hbtcpod@gmail.com. Let's take a look at what y'all have to say. First email from RJ says, he didn't say this, but Brentford just scored. I'm very happy. RJ says, remember how certain everyone was after Summer League? RJ says, Happy New Year, folks. How quickly things can change in 6 months. Jordan Walsh was an overhyped teenager who had little chance of making it to the NBA, while Jaden Springer was so good the Celtics could shut him down after one game. Moral of the story, don't make long-term forecasts from Summer League. Fun game to close out 2024, while Drew Peterson and Jordan Walsh look like solid contributors. I still wonder what the limiting factor is with Xavier Tillman when it comes to moving up the rotation. Jaden Springer, meanwhile, look, I'm not sure what it says when your coach doesn't put you into the game until the team is up 48 minutes or up 48 with 14 left in the game, but it says something. Possibly, I hope you like either Brooklyn or Detroit. Be well, RJ, who has 2 new fan posts on Celtics blog too. Everyone go check those out. Yeah, I don't know, man. It feels like Tillman and Springer just might not be a part of the rotation.
Very tough for us. This is a dark day for this show.
It's rough.
On the bright side, Peterson and Walsh do look great. I think Peterson did show us stuff at Summer League that we didn't really know he had. We didn't really know about his vision and ability to be an initiator. It was something we all kind of were like watching, like, oh, wow, they're having him bring the ball up a lot. Jordan Walsh was a real disappointing character there. He didn't really show up. He didn't really meet expectations. And we were all walking away very disappointed. Like, I remember we were doing the pods from the hotel room, like, damn, man, this guy might be cooked. And RJ's right. Like, Springer had a great showing in that one game and looked really impressive. He was scoring on all 3 levels. He looked comfortable shooting the ball. Like, it was sick. It sucks now that he's not really getting the opportunity. I think that's had something to do with when he gets out there being a little bit unsure of himself. I think that he could end up being someone who sticks somewhere. It just doesn't seem like the Celtics are going to be that place.
Yeah, I don't think Springer will end up in Boston past this year. I'm unsure about Tillman either. They just disallowed the goal for that. That's bogus, man. Anyways, next email. Thank you, RJ, from Isaac. If the Celtics don't win the NBA Finals or get bounced in the playoffs, what would be the reason for that in your opinion? P.S. Love the show. I'm only doing this because last pod no one sent an email. Thanks, Isaac. I think just other teams around the league are good, and the Celtics have cold shooting nights / get beat defensively. Like, I think it's just as simple as that. I think the Celtics are in a spot where they're fully capable of winning a championship, but I think the difference this year is there are going to be legitimate teams in their way. Like, I think the Cavs, have significantly improved. I think the Knicks have significantly improved, and I think the Thunder have significantly improved. And I think you're going to have to face at least 1 or 2 of those teams on your way to the championship.
I think injuries would have a lot to do with it too. I think that Boston is going to be sharp when the playoffs come. I don't think they're going to have dull moments like we saw in December. I think they could go cold shooting. I think we saw them go cold shooting in the playoffs last season. Like, it wasn't something that was completely foreign. They lost a couple game 2s because of it. They lost those game 2s also because they got taken out of their regular offense. So if teams want to do that to them, might have an effect on a series too. I'm just not really sure that I see them going cold for 4 games out of 7. I think that a team like OKC could for sure beat them. I will have a lot more to say about that after today's game as you're hearing this, but I don't know. I think they should be able to repeat. I think fatigue could be another thing, in all seriousness, that they've been deep into the playoffs for 4 straight seasons if they make it deep this year.
Yeah. It's just the natural, like, other teams are good too. Like you have, that's why you play the games, right? and we're gonna see how the Celtics play the games once the playoffs start. And until then, we can't really judge how it goes. But next email, and I believe final email from RJ. Rim out, evening, folks. Starting this at the beginning of the fourth quarter of the Minnesota game, whenever the Celtics take a 3 and it goes in and out, we're all used to saying rimmed out and moving on. I wish the Celtics would take that approach with ref calls. Tonight's game was nuts. Nemish Keita literally got dragged by Julius Randle, and again, no call. He later got pummeled going for rebound, but in both cases, Celtics just seemed to keep going and grinding it out. I think that approach has to become more integrated for them not to let their ref calls or lack thereof take them out of their flow. Speaking of rim out, can anyone check lost and found for Al's 3-pointer? 2 of 21 in the last 3 games is not pretty. Wait, I forgot. Winning makes everything pretty, so tonight was pretty. Be well, RJ. Yeah, Al's been cold. Al's been cold.
Made a big one in the Timberwolves game.
He did. He made a big one in a game before that too that I can't remember. The Pacers one, but they lost. Yeah, the ref thing is one thing. Tatum, the clapping texts are so stupid, man. They're so stupid, and they got rescinded. But like that might be the worst tech.
Point back.
I know. That's the worst tech because it's so clear that Tatum is not clapping at the ref out of frustration. He's just clapping because he's mad at himself. But the refs in real time can't make the distinction of, oh, he's not clapping at me. He's just clapping because he's mad. And then they just give him a tech anyways. So it just turns into this whole stupid little mess where Tatum ends up getting a tech that he doesn't deserve. And believe me, Tatum deserves plenty of the techs that he earns. He is not great at handling officials, but the clapping techs are not technical fouls that he deserves to have. So it is what it is in that regard. But I think those are so silly. Before we jump over to the NBA, I need to tell you guys about Gametime. Let's go on Gametime here, see what is going on. Still got that Post Malone concert, but we looked at that last time. So let's look at something else today. Syracuse, BC. Syracuse is going to be in town. Shout out Bobby Karitsky for B from Syracuse. Bobby Manning too, and Adam Himmelsbach. Andrew Carter. It's a very Syracuse heavy crew.
Literally everybody that's in the media except us.
Yes. You either go to Syracuse for school or you don't major in journalism. That's the joke me and Noah make all the time. But Gametime is the best place for all your ticketing needs. It's the best place for basketball games like the Celtics and Boston College versus Syracuse. It's the best place for NFL playoffs too, which are coming up if you really want to go to an NFL playoff game. Sam, I know you're not the biggest NFL fan, and I certainly can't afford an NFL playoff game, but they are definitely entertaining at the very least. So
there's none going on up here.
No, there won't be many in the New England area. You got to drive to Buffalo if you want to catch that. But this is Syracuse, BC. You can see here they have stars all around for amazing deals. You can see, and then the cheapest deal, which would be up here in the high section for $7, is outlined in red with a little flame. You can get the view from your seat as well, which is a great feature of Gametime. You see exactly what you're going to be seeing from the seat. You also get to see the price with the fees. So there's no clicking your seat, and then you realize you have to pay $10, $20 extra at the end because they didn't include the fees in the original price. Gametime takes that out. Curates deals to make it easy to find the best price. Seat views before you buy, like I said, on time ticket delivery, lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, all that stuff is what we love the most about Gametime. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, let's jump over to the NBA standings real quick. We'll check out who is winning, who is losing, who is where around the league. Shocker. Cavs still in first, Celtics still in second, Knicks still in third. Not a lot of movement in the Eastern Conference at the moment. That's my email, which just don't want that in there. I'm going to have to edit that out too. Great. What a fucking mess, man. This is ridiculous. Your fucking Wi-Fi, the wrong ad read.
Wind.
Now this, I'm going to have to edit all this bullshit. No. I don't care about the wind. I blame
wind. It's
Wind
been
my
so
ass.
bad. The wind has been so bad that I can't even play like a whole game of Rec on 2K. Like I'll get kicked out.
Because your Wi-Fi
Bled
sucks,
beyond
man.
the walls of this
It's
stream.
windy here too. It's windy everywhere. There's one constant, and it's not the wind.
It's worse when it's windy.
The Cavs are atop in the Eastern Conference, 30-4 now. First team in the league to 30 wins. Celtics sitting right behind them. And then you have the Knicks, Magic, Bucks, Heat rounding out that top six. Then Hawks, Pacers, Pistons, Bulls in the play-in. Sixers, who are making a run, though they've lost 2 in a row. Right on the outside looking in. Then Nets, Raptors, Hornets, Wizards rounding it out.
See how many games the Pistons have won in their last 10?
No, 7 and 3.
7 and 3 in their last 10. Watch out. They're here. They're going to miss Jaden Ivory, but they're here for now.
Yeah, that Jaden Ivey thing sucks, man. That's so scary too.
He was having an incredible day. He was like he was going crazy. Unfortunate for him to get hurt that way. Tough injury.
Yeah.
I hope he's able to get healthy after that. Like it almost reminds me of the Hayward thing where Hayward never was right after. It's kind of a similar type of lower leg injury. That stinks. I think Embiid's been out for Philly. I think they've missed him. I think that's why they've dropped the last 2. I'm not positive on that. But, it'd be Celtics on that 3-game win streak. It'd be nice if they kept it together, kept pulling away from the teams below them.
Yep. We'll see if they can keep it up. Out west, Thunder up top, 29-5. Then you got the Grizzlies, Rockets, 23-12 and 22-12. Lakers, Nuggets, Mavs at 4-5-6. Clippers are slipping a little bit. They're 5-5 in their last 10, as are the Mavs, 4-6 in their last 10. But then you get Clippers, Spurs, Warriors, Timberwolves in the 7 through 10. Suns and Kings still on the outside looking in. Then you got the Blazers, Jazz, Pelicans, as you always do.
That Blazers, Jazz, Kings. Just sitting there thinking about the
Pelicans.
flag. Well, all of them. They're all thinking about capture the flag. That's what they're doing.
I don't think the Kings don't want to be in that conversation. And the Kings are now half a game behind the Suns. The Suns are in danger. Suns are 3-7 in the last 10. They're not in a good spot right now.
Suns are in a mediocre spot. They're just paying 3 guys. Good luck to them.
Tough. Ugly, where the Suns are at right now. All right, next thing. We're going to talk about Jimmy Butler because there's been even more Jimmy Butler stuff to talk about. A while ago, we talked initially about Shams reporting that Jimmy Butler wanted to be traded, and then Jimmy's agent saying, no, he doesn't want to be traded. Shams is an idiot. Fuck you. And then Shams doubled down and said, no, he really does, and he wants to be traded this season. And then it turned out, oh, wait, Jimmy Butler actually is unhappy. And then he started saying stuff. He was asked, do you think you can get your joy back in Miami? He said no, basically. And then Pat Riley came out and said, we are not trading Jimmy Butler. That was before the joy back thing and Jimmy talking about it. And now it sounds like Jimmy and his agent have officially requested a trade out of Miami, and the Heat have suspended Jimmy Butler for 7 games, which is the deadline for if Jimmy misses another game past that point, he won't be eligible for all NBA teams. And it's also like a deadline for traded player restrictions. So they timed it up perfectly. The NBPA is fighting the suspension because they think it's crap and they don't think it's fair. The Heat have put out basically Shams tweets saying we're open to taking offers, which is just weird to see a team account tweet that. And it's just a very dramatic situation now, the Jimmy Butler trade saga.
The Jimmy Butler trade saga has been a joy to watch. I will say that. It helps that it's Miami, a team that the Celtics have gone back and forth with for years. Helps that Jimmy is the player that was the face of that for them. As far as wanting out, it has a lot to do with the contract extension. I acknowledge that. I still, I don't agree with Miami with them saying the Celtics are beatable to them. I think the Celtics are way better than Miami. I don't think Miami would beat the Celtics this year. But from their point of view, again, things are not going as different or very much different at all from seasons past when they have been able to string together playoff runs and be spoiler for many teams. Even though they're an 8 seed, they have a lot of the same personnel. They still have a decent roster around Butler, Hero, and Bam. I don't think there's any reason for them to believe they can't win a playoff series. I don't like, aside from Jimmy just wanting to get paid and probably feeling slighted by Miami, I don't quite understand from a basketball perspective why he would want to leave.
I just don't think he is happy with the way they've treated his contract, and I think he's just sick of the way they've been treating him after what he's done for the team. I can only assume, like I obviously don't know, and I forget where I saw this or what exactly it was, but there is a part of it too where like the whole joy in basketball back again. Like, I mean, we talk about heat culture all the time, and Jimmy Butler's part of that. I'd get sick of heat culture. I'd get sick of the constant I don't want to say it's too intense because that's what you have to do to be winning basketball. But it does seem like there's another level of like fuck you mentality in Miami that I think would be draining. And then I know Jimmy is that, but it's just like I don't know. Maybe there's come a point where it gets a bit tired. Like you get a bit sick of it, and especially if they're not treating you the way you feel like you deserve to be treated after what you've done. I can see how that'd be annoying too. And
I
like you
suppose.
mentioned, according to Ryder, Heat, quote, acknowledge Celtics are the East best team, but they don't view them as unbeatable. Basically saying like they want a win now piece back in the Jimmy trade. Like they're not looking to completely rebuild, which is also something to note.
Good luck. Good luck with that. I don't know who you're going to get back for Jimmy that is going to help you do that as much as Jimmy does. Like, of players that are going to be traded right now for Jimmy's value, there's not many that are going to be a better
Well,
playoff performer than Jimmy.
you're not going to get better than Jimmy, but you can't look at it that way because they're like you said, there isn't. You just have like what they're saying is we don't want just prospects and picks. Like we want somebody who can help us compete now as well, which I don't think is unreasonable.
Yeah, but who?
I don't know, like Michael Porter Jr. would be helpful to if they want to keep winning now. Like if the Mavs really want him, like getting a PJ Washington, like win now piece doesn't mean another superstar. You're not getting that, but just like not Reed Shepard and 19-year-old and draft picks. Like they're saying like we want somebody who can help play winning basketball next to Bam and Tyler Hero right now. Like we'll take whether it's a high level role player or a guy you can potentially start, like you're not getting a superstar. And I don't think they're foolish enough to think that, but we don't want just kids is basically what they're saying.
Good luck to him. I think the best thing for them is to kind of, they don't trade Bam or Hero, but if
No.
you are getting quality building blocks back, those guys are on the younger side where you can still kind of retool around them with the
Yeah,
building blocks like draft picks, like a young Reed Shepard. Like
for
I don't
sure.
see, like this is, to be honest with you, this is a great time for this to happen because contrary to what they believe, the Celtics are not beatable for them. They're not. You're not going the way Miami is set up right now. You're not going to beat the Celtics. You're just
I
not.
agree.
You're
I
probably
agree.
not going to
But
beat any of the other teams at the top of the East. So you might as well take this window, realize that you're going to win the same amount of championships as you would if you kept everything together, if you rebuild or if you
I,
retool.
I agree to a degree, but I don't think it's dumb to say like give us some like win now pieces too. Like they'll obviously want draft picks in a Jimmy trade, regardless of who they get. But like I think what they're saying is, yeah, we'd like a Cam Johnson back in a deal if we make a trade with the Nets. Like he's 28, 29. He's on the older side, but like Cam Johnson will help you win now or in 3 years when you have whatever young core you have. I think they would be open to taking like I said, a Michael Porter Jr., who's not like a young prospect, but he's like 26, and he'll help you win on that same timeline. Like I just think they're saying we don't only want a rebuild package, which I don't think is crazy.
I would love it if they spitefully traded him somewhere where he had no chance to compete.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
I
But
just don't think there's any non-competitive team that would be like, give us Jimmy
exactly.
this year with Cooper
Correct. Yeah.
Flag. But
Yeah,
unfortunately,
no one's gonna do that. Speaking of Cam Johnson, he apparently has a bunch of suitors around the league because shocker, he's one of the best 3-and-D players in the league right now. According to Brian Windhorst, Johnson has, quote, many suitors, although the Nets have made it clear to interest teams it will take a steeper price to acquire Johnson than it did for the Schroeder or Finney Smith trades. Nets reportedly plan on trying to sign and trade for a star during the offseason and view Johnson as an important piece of that puzzle. and that he could either be a part of the trade for a star or quality complementary piece to play alongside a star. The Nets star chase is so weird to me, man. I don't get it.
I just think they think, hey, we're in New York. People should want to play here.
I guess. And they're not wrong because people do want to play at New York, but just rebuild. Like, it so clearly didn't work the last time. Why do it again?
Yeah, I don't know what they think is going to happen. Who are they? Like, it takes more. First of all, I don't think you can really get great anymore by trading for your stars. I think you're going to handicap yourself. You're going to paint yourself into a corner. And if that doesn't go well, you're going to have to do a lot to get away from that money, into a lot to get away from the restrictions that come along with building an expensive team. The Nets are best off scouting out the players they have, trying to find guys who they think can be good supporting pieces to whoever it is they end up drafting, and going from there. It's just not going to happen for them. Who are they going to trade for in the summer in a sign and trade that's going to be somebody you can even, like, seriously get to the playoffs with?
De'Aaron Fox, maybe.
Sure.
De'Aaron Fox, Jimmy.
De'Aaron Fox is your big prize. You might as well just go get Cooper Flag.
Well, and it's not or for them. It is and because they're not getting him now.
I know, but it's just, I feel
I
like
agree
I
with you
would
that it's
rather
weird, but
swing on people in the draft and not have to pay them a lot of money and not be married to extending them. To give
sure,
up a lot for De'Aaron Fox is just a tough. Like, he's not even a bad player. Like, he's not in that category. Like
a really
if
good
you're gonna
player
move him
actually.
Zach LaVine. Yeah, he's pretty good. Like, I'm not trying to shit on him. It's just like, is that he's not like change your life good.
I mean, you get him, Cooper Flag, and then another guy, and then I think you're. I mean, at the very least, a playoff team in the East. But yeah, I do what you're saying, and I get what you're saying, and I agree with you to a point. Like, it does seem kind of like just rebuild, just do normally, because I
Team
think that's the
building
best
today
way
is just
nowadays.
so hard.
Yeah, it's difficult.
They've made it so you can basically only do it by drafting and hitting on your draft picks. If you don't do it
Tough.
that way, you're going to end up like Phoenix. You're going to end up like, I mean, even look at what's happening in Denver because they don't want to pay guys. They have no
Uh-huh.
way of improving the team unless they trade Michael Porter Jr., who's someone that, for the most part, has been a key contributor to their core.
It's tough. It's just tough right now. Anyways, Ratless, Sam, what do you have for me?
Rat list, the wind, man. I'm sick and tired of the wind. I hate the wind. The wind is my mortal enemy. I've talked about the wind on the show before. I hate it for running. I hate it for the Wi-Fi. Being close to the water, as just about everybody in Rhode Island is, you get absolutely smoked by the wind. And I'm almost certain that it has a ton of impact on whether or not my Wi-Fi works. So even outside of the show, I'm having trouble, which usually does not happen. Usually the Xbox is able to chug along and go strong, but I can't even get through games on the Xbox right now. Last night I was trying to be in a party. I couldn't connect to the party. This is an all-time low.
That's tough. Yeah, that's a tough one.
I'm starting to run out of reasons to wake up in the morning with no Wi-Fi.
Huh? What do you mean? What?
Nothing to look forward to.
I was like, what the fuck kind
I
of
don't have
joke is
Wi-Fi.
that?
What am I going to do?
Jesus Christ. Rat list. What was I gonna say? Oh, so my roommates and I decided to watch Deal or No Deal Island, which is basically like Deal or No Deal crossed with Survivor,
This ought
which
to
is
be
very
good.
funny.
I've seen the promos for this, and I was like, "What do they do? Just put it on an island?" So please tell me what it is.
Yeah, so I need to make this perfectly clear. Season 2 comes out later this month, but we are waiting till it is out completely so we can binge watch it. So if anyone spoils Deal or No Deal Island, I'm going to ban you from the chat and you'll never be able to talk again
Is this
forever.
what you were watching last night when I was watching the Thunder game?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay.
If you talk about Deal or No Deal Island in the chat, season 2, I'm going to ban you and you'll never talk again in the chat. And I'm so serious. No one fucking spoil it. Deal or No Deal Island is they bring, I don't know if it's 12, 20 people on an island, whatever. And they do survivor type challenges to get cases. And in most situations, the top case you get, like i.e. Deal or No Deal case, will have immunity for the day. Or sometimes it's top 4 or top team or whatever, right? The top X amount of cases will have immunity. And the number one person gets to choose from the bottom two to go up for elimination. But elimination on Deal or No Deal Island is a game of Deal or No Deal. And so they go at the end of the show or the episode, they go play Deal or No Deal. And the whole thing is you have to make a good deal. So you can, like, you get the banker's offers, et cetera, et cetera. If you take a banker's offer, it has to be more than what is in your case. And if you don't take the banker's offer, your case has to be more than what they offered you. And if you take a good deal, you're safe and you get to pick who goes home. You have the power. You say this person is going home. Goodbye. If you don't make a good deal, you go home. And that is the entire show. But they brought in, I don't know if you're a Survivor person at all. They brought in Boston Rob, who was like a big Survivor person who's very famous. And he was on the show and he was entertaining. But the rat list was that the season 1 is over and now we have to wait till April to watch season 2 because we want to watch it all after it's all out together.
Speaking of rat lists and short seasons, I guess I'll do Squid Game for only being 7 episodes in season 2.
How many was first season?
9. So I was watching it and I was on like episode 5 and I was like, yeah, probably got like 5 more left. This is going to be great. And then I finished episode 6 and it's like, hey, you have 1 more. I was like, what? What do you mean I only have 1 more left? I enjoyed it. It was a good season. Like, I think that people would I think you would enjoy it if you can handle watching like the dubs or subtitles. I think it's worth the watch. But I was like, damn. It's almost like when I saw Spider-Verse, the second one, and I didn't know it was a 2-part movie and then it just ended. And I was like, what do you mean the story's not done yet? That's kind of how I felt.
My roommate told me I should see Spider-Verse too. He told me it was good.
It's half a movie.
When's the next half out?
Don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I think it was supposed to be in 2024. I think it's 2027 now.
What?
Yeah.
That's unacceptable.
Yeah, they fucked that one up.
2026 at the earliest. How is that allowed? Oh my God, that's awful. Well, because
it was annoying.
Wicked's a 2-part movie, but I'm pretty sure they filmed both and they released one this year, and then the one's gonna come out next year, which is like fine. That's crazy to not be able to release the second part of a 2-part movie 3 years after the first part is horrible mismanagement.
Yeah, they fucked it up. No getting around it. Terrible.
That's crazy. Anti-rat list. So there's this place near us called Model Cafe, and we went there last night because we saw a deal on the window. We thought it was too good to be true. They have $5 10-inch bar pizzas. So we each got a little bar, like a 10-inch pizza for $5 each. Just had to talk about that because it was sick and it was a great deal, and it was actually $5 each. So we were thrilled.
I wonder if you were like one of the deal greats, like if you were just nasty at finding all of like the cheapest items at whatever time, if you could actually eat out and it would be less than groceries. Like if you were comfortable with eating a bar pizza for every meal, like that actually wouldn't be that bad.
It was dine-in only though, unfortunately, which is the downside. But
it's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, probably you could probably find good enough deals to make it work. I would say so.
Ratless LiAngelo Ball. I guess he came out with a rap song, and everybody's talking about it. I just had friends message the group chat. Kid goes, "Is the LiAngelo Ball song actually good, or is everyone just trolling him? I'm scared to listen to it." And
it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not like Grammy, but you know what I'm saying. But it's not like if I heard it and you told me it was like artist X here, I'd be like, yeah, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? Which is pretty good for LiAngelo Ball. It was whatever. I've heard pieces on TikTok and Twitter and etc.
All right,
it's not too bad. Do you want to pull it up? Do you want to listen to it here, or do you not interested? Another anti-rat list. I don't know if you've had these. I have a new favorite snack, or let me find it.
What are these? This I'm excited for.
It's nothing crazy. Where the fuck are they?
I gotta turn off read receipts because I keep opening my phone to text people, and then I accidentally open somebody else's message and I have to respond to them.
It is crazy you have read receipts on in 2025.
I feel like it's an honorable thing to do, but I just need to stop doing it.
Yeah, it's crazy you have them on. It's insane. You're one of like 3 people I know that has them on, and it's insane.
I just feel like people deserve to know.
No.
But I just think it puts me in so many shitty fucking situations.
These are
Those are all right. Those are good.
Yes.
I like those. They have a honey mustard one that'll change your life. Yeah, you have them clearly. Yeah, no. Oh, honey mustard and onion. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the honey mustard.
And I got these too. Cheddar cheese.
Yes.
Yeah, these are. I don't like pretzels. Like I'm pretty out on pretzels. These pretzel crisps with the flavors, I'm in. These are my thing, and I got them because this guy on TikTok, who's just like weirdly obsessed with them, and I was like, those look pretty good. Let me try them, and I got them now, and they're good. So I'm thrilled. This and brisk, man. That's my meal.
This and what?
Brisk.
Oh, brisk. I thought you said brick. I was like, what do you mean brick?
No,
What is that?
No, brisk. That's all I got. I didn't even more.
Have you tried to run again?
No.
I was just curious.
Certainly not. No, I don't know how long that'll go. Bulls are going to retire Derrick Rose's jersey next season. Per Shams. Makes sense. Sure.
Yeah. That feels like it should have been a given.
Yeah.
What a strange career that guy had.
Yeah, 100%. I don't have
hometown team.
Yeah. Just injuries, man. It's tough. I don't have any more rat list. Do you have anything else?
No, we can get up out of here.
Alrighty. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to How About Them Celtics, and all that. Sam, take it out.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, leave a like, comment, tell us what you are thinking of ahead of Celtics Thunder. You can also hit the bell. We're here every single day. New pods drop Tuesday, Thursday, Sunday. Game recaps are up the morning after each game, and other videos are on the channel in between to keep you up to date with all things Celtics. You can find us on Spotify and Apple too. All of our pods and recaps are up there, so if you give us a follow, they'll go right to your feed. If you leave a 5-star review, we'd appreciate that very much. It does help us reach more people, so if you like us and you think other people should like us, do that. The email is hbtcpod@gmail.com. We read all of your emails every time we do a pod. You saw it today. Shout out to RJ and Isaac for getting in on the fun. You can find us on socials at How About Them C's for Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook's the name of the pod. All streams are there. They're on YouTube. They're on Twitter. Jack's Twitter's at JacksMonNBA. Mine's at Sam LaFrance NBA. That's it for us. Bye.
Tic-tac-toe.